Will I go back to Atlantic City? Keep watching for a trip report from my last visit. First, I wanted to mention that I was able to get this trip for free via Caesars Air. We flew on a chartered plane directly from Milwaukee to Atlantic City. And once we arrived, they had shuttle buses ready and waiting for us to take us there. We were staying at Tropicana this trip and were getting into the resort a little late, so unfortunately, most of the restaurants were closed. So what did we do? We just walked around to the corner to Tony's Baltimore Grill, which we heard was a cool place to visit. We were pleasantly surprised by the quality of the food and the drinks, so I would recommend you giving it a try if you're in the area. And since we got in pretty late, we went up to our room for the first night. The next morning, we got up and went to breakfast at Gilchrist. Again, we had heard great things about it, and it did not disappoint. I had their special, which was this fruit Belgium waffles, and they were perfect. Also, their bacon, really good. After breakfast, we decided to walk up the boardwalk. When I booked Tropicana, I didn't realize how far it was away from the rest of the properties on the boardwalk. Now, on a nice summer day, it wouldn't have been an issue. But on this day, and the whole weekend actually, the winds were very strong because there was a storm approaching, and really it was a bit much. We made our way up to Caesars and Bally's, played a little bit there, and then stopped at resorts for lunch. To our surprise, there was a crowd forming next to the door at Hard Rock, and we were wondering what was going on. Come to find out, it was Jersey Shore Day, and the cast from the show was there. After taking a little peek at there, we went to Landshark at Resorts for lunch and felt that it was pretty good for a chain kind of restaurant. I was really happy with the margarita I got. After lunch, we spent a brief amount of time at Resorts and Hard Rock. Both properties were fine, but I wanted to visit all of the properties, so we continued up the way and stopped at Showboat, which is now an arcade. They have go-karts, an indoor water park, just kind of a play area. Then we went up to Ocean and gambled for a little bit, where they had a pretty good selection of slot machines. When we were done, our plan was to take the Boardwalk tram back to Tropicana, which is $10 for a round trip, as many as you want. But the weather wasn't cooperating. So we ended up taking a taxi back, and I was kind of surprised that the taxis there, it was a maximum fare of $13, which really was comparable to what the Uber and Lyft prices were. For dinner, we made our way over to Fork and Knife, which was a great experience that we enjoyed quite a bit. Now, I'm going to be honest, I felt a little underdressed, but no one made me feel unwelcome, which I really appreciated. After dinner, we went back to Tropicana and watched some sports at a Damn Good Sports Bar, which was a little bit underwhelming for a sports bar because they didn't even know how to change the channels to get the game we wanted to watch up. Eventually, they did. After the game, we went down and gambled, which was terrible. The next day, we last minute booked an escape room at Tropicana, and being someone who's done a lot of escape rooms, I was expecting to be disappointed. I thought the setup was great, and it felt like it was a perfect mix of challenges. Ultimately, we didn't escape, but we had a great time, especially for my in-laws, who it was their first time doing an escape room. For dinner that night, we made our way up to Caesars, where we had a reservation at Hell's Kitchen. We had been to the Lake Tahoe location, but found this one to be much more inviting of a setup. I had a smoked beverage, which was pretty fun, and the dinner was great. After that, we ended up heading back to Tropicana and gambled for a while. Overall, the gambling was not good. I found myself surprised that I didn't see more people winning, and it felt like I couldn't get a bonus for the life of me. The next morning, we got up and headed back to the airport. Overall, this was my second trip to AC, and it really didn't compare to the first one, where the weather was much nicer. However, my wife and in-laws, they thought it was great and said they'd love to go back. So for those of you who've been there, when we go back, where should we go for dinner, fun, and good gambling? Please like, comment, share. Thank you.